just retired from, we received a small grant from AT&T, and the grant is to they want us to feed first responders and the elderly. And so I'm coordinating kind of both having meals through certain districts where we are reaching out to some of the mom and pop restaurants that have been particularly hard hit, and have them prepare a number of meals for the firefighters and some medical personnel. But the other thing, the AT&T asked us to work in conjunction with an organization called Fishers of Men to feed the elderly. And so as they are a kind of a private group that sells meat. And so they would donate the meat, and we thought it would be good for us to try and include produce, eggs and milk as well to the elderly. We're targeting this the downtown area because there's a big concentration of elderly, and then the south side as well. And it's both elderly and poverty. And if we have enough, we'll try and do something on the west side also. But I thought to try and make our dollars go out a little further, I wanted to see. I had heard that Tammy, you and Canseco, of course, do the produce, and I wasn't sure if you all donate or if you all sell, but sell more like in bulk, or if you're more expensive. And that was the conversation I was having with Marcela today. And she suggested I come on and tell you all what we're doing, and if we could form some sort of partnership to kind of add with the elderly. It's very difficult. They have a lot of special restrictions in their diets. So it's easier just to like get a grocery bag together and donate the food that way. But we thought it'd be great if we could add some produce to it. I'm trying to get a kind of a match from HEB, but I haven't been successful in coordinating with them yet. And so I just wanted to see if Canseco House or the Hillside or one of your groups would participate in any way. So I guess then, I mean, that's really all from my end of it. We'll be donating a total of about $4,000 for the different meals, and then for the grocery part, it's about $1,500. And so, give or take a couple of hundred, if we can get a few more donations. So I guess you will all discuss it, and then Marcela, you can let me know.
Definitely. And I mean, so Derek is the volunteer. So he's the representative of the volunteers that are working at Canseco. So I mean, we can discuss it also with the other volunteers to see what they think. I mean, the board, of course, should be on board, right? And then the volunteers and see what they think.
Oh, okay. I'll look it over. Thank you. Okay, appreciate it.
Do you have anything to add, Derek?
Just need a signature on it.
Does anyone, if anybody has any questions or even recommendations on maybe how to do this best, I will admit this is not normally what I engage in, but we did reach out to AT&T, and they did give us a little bit of money. So that's where we are right now.
Miss, I don't know if we're allowed to to kind of discuss this because it's in public comments. But what I can do, I'm the executive director for Main Street, but we coordinate the farmers market. And I know that I can get you in touch with some of our farmers that do provide eggs, and also a farmer right now that we know has some produce. And so I'm not sure how the Canseco garden is looking right now, but that could be another option for you. So I can reach out to you after this and kind of discuss that a little bit further too, just to get you more context for that.
That would be great, Priscilla. Thank you. And you know, we're trying to do double duty here in trying to help the locals and more the grassroots, you know, like Canseco House and some of the local organizations, rather than just going to like HEB and buying a bunch of stuff. So the farmers market, that would be fantastic, and we'll buy it, but I rather put our money into, you know, that kind of group. Okay.
Great. I'll just add, Marcelo, sorry, you asked me to say something, but I think the idea is great. I would just worry about the abundance of crop or lack of, just because we're coming out of the growing season, going into the hot season. We're going to be planting cowpeas, not a lot of crop. There's not a lot that grows in the temperature. So we may not have something that would stretch that far until the fall crop, like October, November, something that would be able to go, you know, in several directions. So it's just, I don't know how reliable it would be. So Priscilla, the farmers, I forget the name of the ranch, where they would probably have a better idea of what kind of numbers you could count on from them. It's just with us, it's just kind of a roll of the dice. Not really easy to determine how much is still going to come out in the next couple of weeks. Things are just starting to get really hot. So certain things like zucchini, even the tomatoes, are not harvesting. Nothing's there. So that's my only concern.
Oli?
Yes.
Hi, it's Bobby from Capataz. How are you doing?
Hi, Bobby. I'm good. Thank you.
Sorry, I just was able to get on the video. I'll reach out to you also to see what help, if anything, the restaurants could be with what you're doing.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, we're trying to help you all, but I appreciate, you know, the return of the favor
Sure.
as well. So, okay. Bobby, you know how to get a hold of me. And thanks for the meal the other night. It was fabulous as always. And thank you to the whole group. I am a wannabe farmer and gardener, and something I hope to start now that I'm retired, but I really appreciate what you all are doing and have done. It's much needed in our community. So if I can be of any help at any time, I'd love to be. But again, thank you all.
Yes. So, I mean, just to conclude, I think that, I mean, we'll be in touch in terms of, like, I know we are in the same boat with Tamiyu Garden. Like, we don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks because the plants are just fading down. And actually, we just passed our highest harvest. But, I mean, whatever we have available, I think we will be happy to contribute. And the other thing is, like, also, like, reaching out to, like, other people here on the board. So I think that was great. And if you want to learn about gardening, of course, I mean, we're also accepting volunteers right now at Canseco and Hillside. So, I mean, if you send me an email, I will be happy to share with you some information about how to join the group. And you can learn. I mean, you can learn about how to do it yourself. And that would be also very valuable, I guess.
Sounds good to me. Thank you. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you again.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Okay, so Guillermo shared with us the minutes from last week. So if you can take 2 minutes to look at the minutes and actually read them so we can approve. I'm gonna, I don't know if I can share here, but I will try.
Dr. Rivas, this is Roger Garcia. Just joined the meeting. I had some trouble with the mobile one touch, but I don't know if we have quorum. You have another one to count in if you need it.
Yes, we do have quorum, Roger, but I'm so happy to hear you. Hi.
Hi, yeah, good to hear from you too. And I missed the first half of that conversation. It sounded interesting though, and I'll read through the minutes and see if there's any insight I can contribute for them after this.
Definitely.
Okay. Thank you for the welcome.
Okay, I don't know if you can see this screen. These are the minutes from last week. I don't know if you can see that.
I received the email. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect. A motion to approve these minutes.
I second.
Who was that?
Diego Gomez.
Favor.
Everybody in favor?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. So let's move on to the next item. So I asked Toby to please share with us a little bit of an expense report of our budget. So I'm sharing this with you. I don't know if you can see my screen and you can see the minutes and the budget that I'm sharing here.
Really, the just that top page, that one, really. The way I did this based off of, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I did this based off of the original monies that were kind of allocated for LCUAS. So that's why you'll see at the top it starts at 200,000, and on the left side is a kind of a budget that we came up with, which I believe we're going to have to formally adopt a budget, but we'll probably have to put that on an agenda as an agenda item. But we started with 200,000 that was allocated to the group, of which 75,000 for that was for the shade tree program. On the right column, you'll see actually the right column is what actually has been spent or taken out of that money. So you'll see the 75,000 that went to the tree shade project. So I put that on the right column. Under bank charges, you'll see 184.50 was budgeted, and on the right is 377.94. The reason it's 377.94 is, okay, when I had originally opened the account, back in September, we were being charged, if you recall, we were being charged monthly fees. So I initially deposited $100. I deposited $100, and then in April, that had dwindled to $7. So I had to deposit an additional $100 because we were going to get the other fee hit that month, and there wasn't enough on the account. So I actually ended up depositing $200 in total. After that, the check for $125,000 was deposited. So I actually ended up taking the $200 that I had put in, the initial $100, plus the second $100 is what I took out of the bank. And so that's $200 of that $377.94. And then the other $177.94 is for the issuance of checks and a checkbook, which we received for the organization. And the only other expenditure this month was for, I didn't know where to allocate it. I put it under marketing, but it was for the advertising for the executive director position that we ran through the Laredo Morning Times. And that was the only expense this month besides basically the checkbook and the reimbursal of the $200 that I had put in.
Great. I think it's perfect. I think that is part of marketing. So I think that we have the right line item. It's good.
Now we are. I am going to have to interject, but I think for the next meeting we are going to have to put on the agenda at least an approval of a budget. I don't know if that's. I believe it's something we need to put on the agenda. I'm not sure, but so we can go over these items to see if these kind of jive or they look kind of wonky, or if anybody else has any other opinions as to what we're trying to budget. I mean, of course, we're kind of going in blind here. Obviously, this is the first time we're setting this up. So there were just figures that we put in there. But anyway, I think it's definitely something that we need to put on the agenda item for next to address a budget.
Okay, so what I'm understanding is, okay, so we're gonna look at each budget item and say it's okay to have $6,000 for marketing versus $4,000.
Right.
That's what you mean?
So if you can, until the next meeting, take this and look this over. If and if you have any comments or suggestions, if it seems too much or too little, let us know so we can try to fine tune the budget a little bit.
Sounds really good.
Okay.
So I'll put it in the next item.
Okay.
Next. Okay. So I'm sorry, here we have the expense report from last week, and then we have an item in terms of income. And I know Derek has some money, which is like $30, not a big amount of money that they have collected from people, just giving them, when they were giving out the vegetables, they give them money. So he has asked me constantly, what do I do with this money? And I guess the procedure is give it to Bobby. That's my answer to this question. I don't know if we need to figure out a procedure. We give a receipt. How do we do this? I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, we'll need to have an accounting of it. So I guess we'll make sure. Who has that money right now?
Derek.
Okay, so then I'll get with you, Derek, so we can get that deposited and allocated where it should be. And I guess that would go under, for right now, there's a category fundraising and sales on that report. So we would put that in there.
Okay.
Priscilla, any suggestions? You've been doing this with the farmer's market forever.
Yes. So the way that we do it, because a lot of the what he's gonna face, right, is a lot of cash transactions that go back and forth. So I'm not sure if they gave it to him as a donation or if they were actually selling the produce. But the way that we do it is we have a form that I can share with you. I'll send it to you through email. We write it on hand there at the farmer's market. We say we received $5 for, I don't know, squash, and we kind of write everything down. And then at the end, it'll give a total. And then our deposit slip has to match that sheet. So he would submit to you that sheet that he filled out that day that he was receiving money. And then it'll, with the money, along with the money, those totals would have to equal each other. And then whenever you do your deposit, you just kind of get a copy of the deposit slip and add it onto that. So everything is kind of put together appropriately. But I can give you some examples of how we do that.
Okay.
Okay.
That would be perfect. Because I think that, I mean, they were just giving out the produce, and then some people wanted to give them some donations, and that's how the money came to be. Right, Derek?
Yeah, exactly. And so Bobby, would you be just keeping a hard file of the donations attached with the deposit slips? Is that like a folder of that? Okay.
Yeah, I need a hard copy, and also it'll be hard copy and digital.
Okay. Makes sense.
Excellent. And then also, okay, so so in terms of future expenses, there are a couple of items that I think that we need to discuss, because we need to know how much money we can spend before the board's approval. So that's one item. And then the next item is the volunteers may want to request some money for seeds, for materials, for plants, whatever they need. So how is that process going to happen? And if we as a board, like right now, we as a board control that process because we don't have an executive director. Whenever we have an executive director, I think that person is going to be the person that is going to control this process. But right now, we have to do it ourselves. That's my understanding. So first item is in terms of, so what is the amount or the dollar amount that we need board approval for? And that's up for discussion.
Speaking on Main Street's terms, we have a policy or a procedure on that. Again, we have an executive director that kind of manages transactions, but we have a policy that anything over $500 requires 3 quotes and requires board at least treasurer's approval. Because the board only meets once a month. Sometimes there's transactions that need to happen before that. But as long as the treasurer is aware and, is monitoring the budget and it's a reasonable expense, then the treasurer can make that decision and approve that for the executive director. But for us, it's $500 and above. Anything under $500, it's at the executive director's discretion if we use that.
You said 3 bids? 3 what?
3 bids, yeah, or 3 quotes, estimates of whatever you're using. And then that is also good to have that policy or that procedure because when you're applying for third-party funding for the city or Webb County, they will ask you if you have some type of procedure in place. And so you need to provide that.
That sounds good.
So Priscilla, will you share that policy with us so we could adopt it?
Of course, yes. I'll email it over to everybody this afternoon.
Okay, and that way maybe in an additional policy, we could have something about, I guess, what is approved and what items would not be approved for purchase and stuff like that.
Can you give us an example, Guillermo, of what
Yeah.
in terms of items?
Well, the city of Laredo and state grants have listings of what you can and cannot buy. Most of us take for granted what we won't buy. You know, you can't buy firearms, you can't buy alcohol, you can't buy automobiles, you know, without some sort of approval. So I think if we just have something basic on paper, it could at least provide a general direction.
I didn't think about firearms or alcohol, but I think.
And also in the interim, if there's something that I would say, because we're going to need to buy some seeds and various materials in the next couple of months before there's an executive director hired. So maybe like something $100 under $100 that could be approved. I'm guessing for the type of food, seeds, and materials that we might need to buy.
Yes, and I think that one of the, I mean, what I was envisioning with that, so we're going to, okay, so moving to the next item. So we're going to have, I'm sorry, I'm just going to finish with the item before. So Priscilla is going to send us the wording for the, when anything over $500, it needs board approval or treasurer's approval. So that's going to be established as is. And then what I was envisioning for the seeds and for the garden beds and all of this was to have some kind of request, like some kind of request from the volunteers. Okay, so we are looking at, I don't know, a list of items that we would like to buy. And sometimes I know that if you need neem oil that weekend, because we need to spread put this neem oil on the plants ASAP, you just go to the store and buy. That's fine. But if we are planning for the fall, crops, I think that you might have a bigger list of items that you need, and we just need the list and a little bit of a justification. This is for blah, blah, blah.
Marcella, hi, Kirby here.
Hi, Kirby.
Planning Director, just wanted to let you know I'm on the call. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Sorry
joining.
I was late. Coming from the doctor.
Oh, I hope everything's well.
Yeah, it's all right. My cat bit me. I'm good now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, so I was saying that, I mean, I think that we just need some kind of form that will actually give us a little bit of planning. You know what I mean? So, for example, I was talking with Melly this past Sunday at Hillside, and she was saying, okay, we need to know if we have a nursery, and if we have a nursery, then we can buy some seeds, and then we can do some planting of the seeds. But if we can find the space to put these little plants at city property, we will do it. If not, we're just gonna have to go buy seeds and plants for the time being.
I think that if we can come up with a request procedure, what's gonna need to happen though is that, like I say, the board only meets once a month, and sometimes these need to happen before the time that we're meeting. And so as to not slow down, anything that happens at the garden, I think giving our treasurer, kind of the authority to make those decisions based on, obviously reasonable expenditures that need to be made, anything that may be outside of the scope of what is immediate at the garden, then would need to come for board approval, or anything over, the $500 or something like that. But allowing our treasurer for the volunteers to go directly to our treasurer, request that, and him being able to have that authority to approve, those smaller, more immediate expenses is what's going to help the garden, because if they're going to have to wait, to come to present that at the board meeting, it's going to be too long. We're going to waste time doing that.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Okay, do we need to make a
Motion?
motion for that? Do we?
I think let's make a motion, right? So, I mean, motion to approve request procedure and the treasurer to have authority when it's less than $500 for immediate needs for the garden. I think that would be the motion.
I second that.
I think Kirby, did you second that?
Oh, Roger.
No, I have a slightly more masculine voice than that.
No. Before Priscilla, I heard somebody before Priscilla. Sorry. Okay.
Or either I sound
Yeah,
manly or Kirby sounds very feminine. I don't-
Kirby seconds that.
Yeah, my phone cut off at the beginning, so I think that's what Bobby's talking about.
Oh,
Or I don't know, maybe Kirby thinks my voice is feminine.
I'm turning red.
that's so funny.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone not in favor? Okay, I'm gonna try to look for a request form that we have used here at TAMIU in the past, but I'm not promising. So if you have anything, if someone has anything that can share with us, it would actually speed up the process of having this done. And we can actually, Derek, probably have something for the weekend, because I think that when the volunteers meet, you can actually make a plan or something like that.
I'm gonna have to leave the room just for a quick second, you all, so I'll be right back.
Okay, so the other is you all received from, so I'm gonna move to item number 9. So you all receive the information from John Porter about the board insurance proposal. So if you, I don't know if you have any time to look at the proposal. It's about $900 for board insurance. So if everybody approves, we're gonna continue and just ask our treasurer again to purchase the board insurance. So motion to approve the board insurance proposal.
Second that. This is Mr. Gomez.
Hi, John.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you today?
Good. I'm trying to drive over to JJ's office.
Oh, okay. Be careful, please.
Okay.
Don't take some drive. Okay, so we have second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Bobby, we're going to purchase that insurance and we're gonna move on with that item.
Okay.
Hey, Marcella, I just need your signature on those documents.
Oh, okay, I will. So I just have to print them, sign, and send back to you?
Yes, or if they're PDF, I think you can just sign them and email them back to me.
Okay, I'll do that this afternoon, for sure. So item number 10, we have two, so it's discussion of applications. We have 2 applicants that look very promising that actually responded to, I believe they responded to our ad or the information that we have sent out to through different people. So if, well, one of the things that we need to know is who is on the hiring committee and what are the procedures for the interview. So I know that I am on the hiring committee So that's one person. But then I don't remember, and I don't know who is going to be in the hiring committee with me.
Have committees been established?
I don't know. I think we did, but I think that it was so far away that we don't remember.
Do committees have to be approved by the board, or is that just something the president, does anybody know, or just something that the president designates?
I think it would depend on our bylaws, because I know at Main Street we're able to just create committees as needed, but it would really depend how we structured it, and we'd have to look at it.
Okay.
So we need to look at our bylaws and see what does it say about committees.
With that said, though, I'm happy to help with the hiring process of the committee and to evaluate if you'd like. I just wanted to volunteer if needed.
I'm happy to be that as well, since I'll have an active role with whoever that person would be too.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Roger and Derek. Marcela, I would like to appoint one more person to this committee, so it's 4 of us, at least. We need another volunteer, I guess.
Volunteer. You can.
Bobby? Okay, perfect. So I'll send you all the applications, and then we can make sure that we have a scoring system for the applications and some interview questions that they need to answer for us, and we will move on from there. Is that okay with you? Motion to approve this procedure.
A second.
In favor.
Everybody in favor?
Yep.
Anyone has any questions or not in favor? Okay. So, then we have the administrative staff position, and I'm going to table this item because I think that it would be good to have the direct.
3:30. I can still go over there. We'll do the meeting.
Oh, hi. They are together now. Hello.
We're here.
Yes.
We're
Very good. Okay, so we're going to have the. Oh, can you hear me? Can you see me? Yes. Okay. So we're going to have the administrative staff position. I'm going to table this item because I think that we need to hire the executive director, and then with the help of the executive director, we make decisions about this second person. I mean, my vision is this person will be a volunteer coordinator and a staff assistant at the same time. But we will have to also make a decision in terms of like roles for this person, and also money that we need to allocate in the budget for this. So So we're just gonna move forward. Does anyone has any comment about this item, about the administrative staff position?
No, I think it's good that you're shelving it for now because I think it definitely be jumping the gun.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and then the status of the lease for Canseco. So I have reached out to Councilman Martinez about actually formalizing the lease. I haven't heard from him. So I was wondering if John or Mr. Coach Gomez can actually help us with bringing the lease to legal so they can approve.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody's good with the lease, or if you want to add language or whatever you want to add, or if you're good with it, then we just need to know and we can send it to legal.
Okay, so I'll send you my.
Good with it, and, then I guess the chair sign it if the board agrees, and then we'll just take it to legal.
There is just one item that I changed in the original lease agreement. Let me see if I can share this with you.
A las 2:30 vamos a ver exactly. Looking that we gotta figure out who puts what or who puts in charge of it and all that. There's a little part.
So, do you have your lease agreement handy, all of you? I mean, I have sent it several times. So the term of the lease is, I believe, should be at least for 5 years. And then I added $1 base rent for each, $12 base rent for each year. So that would be $1 a month. And then we don't have an official address. So I had a question about that. Should I just put my address, or how do we proceed about this? And then on the page number 2, use of premises, LCS will use the premises for office space for its management and operations, provide all necessary office furniture for the space, including but not limited to desks, chairs, filing cabinets, and printer. LCS is Laredo, City of Laredo. Fixtures and equipment, and then provide all necessary wiring for phone, fax, and computer lines, and it's all expense, and maintain appropriate operation of the grounds for garden activities. That's what I was. That's what I added here. Hello? Oh, you're reading. Okay. So I am confused in that part because who is LCS? Is that Laredo? Or should say LCUIS, and that's us.
Yeah, I think that's a typo.
So it should be LUIS.
UAS. Yeah.
Okay, so our commitment is to maintain the garden activities, not to maintain the garden ground, because that's what is on the original document.
Right, we talked about it last time. Yeah, if you want to cross that out or go into detail that, well, the LCUAS will do maintain the garden, but not the infrastructure. Like the water.
Okay. So I'm writing maintain appropriate operation of the grounds for garden activities, but will not be responsible for infrastructure such as water lines, pipes, or what? Or garden.
We're trying to find a copy. Who sent the last copy out?
I think it was me. I sent the last copy out. And I sent it out for last meeting.
She's
And then on page 11, there is premises leased as is. Premises are leased as is, and there is no express or implied warranty on the condition or sustainability of the building. And I'm a little bit concerned about that because right now the building is not in good condition to actually be occupied. So I am worried that 5 years can pass and there's no carriage house finalized for this. So I am a little bit hesitant to actually approve a lease agreement that actually will pay as is.
What section was that again?
Yeah.
Is page 13, I think.
What's the section name?
Premises
I don't see.
leased before provisions. I think it's after the notices. Outside storage prohibited, compliance with the state and local laws, and then premises leased as is. That's the first sentence of that page.
You mean you're worried about the lease agreement being as is? Was that the concern?
Yes. So it
I
says
think
there is
I
no
think it's falling under.
experience.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So it says there is no an implied warranty on the condition or suitability of the building. And then I look at the term implied warranty, and it says that the building will be in good condition, so we can have an office there. So there's no implied warranty that the building actually is going to be in good condition for us to occupy the office there.
I'm sorry to interrupt. But is there a way that you can mute everybody? Because there's a lot of background noise. It's hard to hear. Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Okay, so John, I guess that what we need is to ask the city if there is any timeline for them to complete the work at the carriage house, so we can add it to the lease agreement, or the city will commit to doing this by August, by September. I mean, I'm sure not by July. But...
Actually, this is Mr. Coach Gomez. I need to coordinate it with engineering. Engineering's got a couple of companies there working on. So let me get an update with them what the process is. Last time I spoke with them was maybe about a month ago, and they were a couple months away, 2-3 months away todavía from actually, being able to finish the project. So let me get a specific date, and then a timetable, and I will email the group once I get a timetable from engineering. Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. So right now we can approve the lease agreement. Do we? Can we? I don't think so.
Sorry, Dr. Venus, what was the question again?
I mean, I'm not sure we can approve the lease agreement with the as-is clause. So I think we need a timeline from the city that actually will let us know when the carriage house will be ready. I'm thinking, I mean, that's the only way I think that this works, but of course, I mean, I'm not an expert on this thing.
Yes, I agree. I guess once I get this time for Mr. Chavez, then we can have a better idea, so that way at least we can put a date on it. Right? Is that your concern?
Yes, exactly.
What if we put language in there that the lease would go into effect upon completion of the carriage house?
Okay.
And that way we could, you could sign it and we could take it to council. It would all be approved. It just wouldn't, the clock wouldn't start ticking until that is complete.
Okay, that sounds okay. That sounds like a good idea.
Is that? I don't think so.
What about doing it as an addendum?
Yeah, we could do that.
So we just add an addendum to the lease agreement?
Okay, who writes that up?
That's a good question.
Anyone?
I would suggest that our group, maybe the secretary, put something together, because if we ask the city to put it together, it's going to take another while for us to receive something back. So if our secretary can, put up a draft or something and send it to all of us that we could present with this. I think that would be the best and quickest way.
Yes. Guillermo is connected, but I think he has to step out, so he cannot say yes or no to this question. So, I mean,
So it doesn't look very specific to me. It just talks about the use of the premises. I don't see, I mean, I really don't see any downside to moving forward on this. Because it doesn't explicitly state the carriage house anyway, or I don't see it.
I think it says carriage house somewhere.
Does it?
Mm-hmm. Let me look.
And well, if it's an addendum, then we could just mention we could take out the carriage house, and then you add it in.
Sure. Just take that sentence out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says right there, leased area. The lessor does hereby lease approximately blank square feet, constituting the carriage house and garden grounds.
So do we not want to have that? I mean, would that be useful to store things? I know it may not be ready for somebody working out of that, but.
Right, so that's true. I mean, I think that there is the use of storage, right? And then there is the use of the office.
Mute.
So right now they're using it as a storage.
Where is it? Can you imagine?
And the idea is storage and an office for executive director, or just storage?
A storage and an office in the upstairs for the executive director. That area is going to become the office of LCIS. And then the building area is where the storage house is happening. Okay, so I mean, we're gonna sign the lease and then we can probably look for an addendum. I'm gonna contact Guillermo and see if he can write something about this. I mean, we send the lease agreement as is, John. So I'll sign and then we can proceed with the lease agreement because, I mean, we've been going on with this forever. So we need to have that happen. And then we can have an addendum for the carriage house and when there's a timeline when they can actually make it happen.
You know,
I can hear you. You're muted, John.
Yeah, we were talking since it's a parks asset. I was talking to JJ. If Parks puts it on the agenda, then that forces the attorney's office to review it.
For next
because it'd be under the Parks Department anyway.
Yes, exactly.
Sounds like that's probably be the best bet. That way we can get our legal department taken involved in it and then oversee it and push it through.
Okay.
We'll put it in the agenda.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, and then the other question, so we're going to sign the lease agreement as is, and then maybe just ask the city for a timeline of the carriage house. So not motion to approve this. I'm going to sign the lease agreement. So motion to approve the lease agreement as is.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then finally, we have the refrigerator that has been missing. Mr. Gomez, do you know anything about the refrigerator?
John and I are smiling about it because, okay, so, so I looked, my guys, there's a refrigerator that has not been assembled. There's an older refrigerator that we found in one of our warehouses. And then right now, I'm going to see if I get an email right now from my secretary. They found, we have looks like a walk-in refrigerator that has not been assembled. It's still in the crate. Okay. And that's ready to be assembled. It looks insulated and everything. We have it in one of our warehouses, still in a pallet actually. That's I'm assuming that's the one that we're looking for. That's the one that was purchased. Oh, there, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, that's what we know. That's the one that we're supposed to have for our Canseco house.
All right. So again, this was ordered before I got here. So we did some digging. I'm going to see if I can get it here in the email right now. And not as soon as we're done with it, as soon as I get in my email, I'll forward it to everyone. And when we're ready to proceed, we can put it out there and go and install it and get our guys to go put it and install it so we can get it going. I just want to make sure that that's it. So I'm sure it is. It's in the pallet, and we found it's in one of our warehouses, in the north warehouse for us. So yeah, so that's the latest on that one. Okay.
Excellent. That's awesome. And then there's a grant proposal that is pending. I am meeting with Guillermo and Priscilla on writing a grant for USDA. It's an extension grant for the garden. I mean, I've been working at Hillside with the other volunteers, and there's a big need for a shed and also for a composting system for both gardens. So that would go on the proposal. I know that we are over our timeline. I just wanted to mention, so I'm going to adjourn the meeting at this time. It's 3:10. So thank you for coming, and I will keep you informed about the grant proposal. So thank you again, and I'll see you later.
Thank you, Dr. Uribe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is
Meeting,
Priscilla.
right?
This is Priscilla. Thanks.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Yes.
Second.
Seconded by Priscilla.
Yes. My lovely voice.
Kidding. That was Kirby. That was Kirby if you couldn't tell.